Hi, everyone. Today's lesson is about what we call the 3 pillars of narrative writing. So, whether you are writing fiction or a nonfiction memoir, you want your writing to have these 3 things. And they're called pillars because I always think of the pillars on the White House. They hold up the structure. Your narrative, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, cannot exist without these pillars holding it up. Look at these 3 columns, if you will, that I put on this doc. If you have too much of the first one, let's say action, you have too much and this is taller, well, then your roof is on a slant. Or you could imagine the second column being higher. Well, then you're going to not have support on the left or the right. Or if the right one is too much, they all have to be in the right balance. Think of this as a recipe. If your narrative has too much or too little, think Goldilocks. It needs the just right amount to exist. Too much or too little would not make for a good formula or recipe of a narrative. Now, what are the 3 pillars? So far, you understand, okay, I need to have all 3 of them in perfect balance. The first one is action. And by action, I mean things obviously have to happen. You need a beginning, a middle, and an end of the story. You need to have very vivid, action-packed verbs as well. You need it trotted, lunged, not just walked and ran. Be really specific with your verbiage. The second pillar is in the middle. That's description. And you're going to concentrate on 2 things: your characters and your setting, your time and your place. So describe what your characters are wearing. What's their hair like? And move past the physical appearance. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? How do other characters react to them? What do they say? That's all part of character description. Describe both the time and the place. Don't forget about the other part of setting. And the third pillar is dialogue. It needs to be in 8th grade. I've said this about 3 times this week. It's what you learned before, but we're pushing it further. So you need to have your characters speak, but it can't be, "Hi, how are you? I'm fine, that's good." It can't be that senseless dribble. It has to be purposeful. And by purposeful, it needs to reveal their character, who they are, or propel the plot. I'm actually going to type that in so you know what purposeful means. Purposeful as in it propels the plot, or it reveals character, or what characters say can also reveal a conflict. Say, "Ooh, I sense something going on there, some tension boiling underneath." And of course, your dialogue has to be punctuated with your commas and your quotation marks in the correct place. Let's add that. By now, you should know to indent your dialogue every time the speaker changes. Oh, I'm making this messed up. So I'll just leave that for now, and I'll add it when I'm off the video. You know that you need a comma after the speaker tag. He says, comma. You know that the period goes before the last set of quotation marks. And if you don't, if that's fuzzy, we will review that. How to punctuate dialogue. So you're going to put these 3 pillars into action today. I want you to notice how authors balance action, description, and dialogue. The one that you're going to practice together, or you're going to observe rather on the Screencastify video, is me marking up a memoir I've written called Endangered. And it's been, I'm going to admit, a long time since I looked at this memoir. I wrote it about 11 years ago, so I would have to probably make a lot of changes, because whenever you go back in, that benefit of time You see new things that you don't like or where you want to add. So the title, endangered, that should make you think, what's endangered? Is it an endangered species? Is someone in danger? So from there, anytime I stumble upon plot as in action verbs, I'm going to highlight that blue so you see where it is, that the author used that ingredient. Anytime I see dialogue, green, and anytime I see description, I will highlight that red. I'm not going to do the entire memoir, just enough for you to see the weaving of the ingredients to make this memoir. I knew I was in trouble when the stray brindle pit bull stopped mid-trot at the street corner, cognizant of my tricolor beagle Boo Radley attached to a black canvas leash. So already I see some description, which is red. Check your color key. So it's brindle. That means that like spotted brown and black pattern. I also saw tricolor. That means brown, black, and white for my beagle. It's still red. And the leash is black and it has that canvas material. And that canvas material should trigger your senses. You should be able to imagine the feel of that canvas leash. Lunch, he thinks, like a fuming bull. So I have a simile, ready to dart from the rodeo gates. His limbs strain forward and his sinewy muscles bulge as his eyes narrow upon Boo. So I can see why it's called endangered. And I'm going to stop and I notice strain is a very vivid verb that propels the action, makes things happen, and that's blue. And bulge, blue. Right? No dialogue yet. Now, if you said, hey, wait, there's description. Yes, there is. Sinewy describes the muscles. So that would be red. Fuming, I guess that's describing what kind of bull. It has like the steam blowing out of its nose. You can get that mental image in your mind. Oh, wrong color. Blue. Or fuming, we said that's going to be description. Okay. Act normal, my husband, David warned. So there we go. I have my dialogue. Notice the quotation marks, the comma placement. I'm going to highlight that entire sentence green. So already by paragraph 2, you can see boom, boom, boom. I already have each pillar of narrative writing present. So I would continue in that fashion. Now, if I'm going to show you how long this is, and you can see another reason why I need to tighten this up. It's too long. It's 4 pages. Definitely need to get out the fluff. If by the end you're only doing, the first page or 2 just for practice sake, but if by the end you said, look, I used the red highlighter 100 times and I used the blue highlighter 50, then your pillars are off balance. You have way too much description and not enough things happening. Can we bridge the gap between the two? Or you only had someone talk once or twice. Well, that's a tricky one. In a memoir, I can't make up someone talking when they didn't. But when I do have it, I'm going to make sure that it's punctuated correctly because it's tricky with nonfiction. I can't make that up. So if you don't have as much dialogue in your own memoir, we're going to let that go since you can't make it up. Just make sure your commas and your quotation marks are in the correct place. All right, so if you want to read more of this, I'll attach it in Google Classroom. But the point was just the balancing of the 3 pillars. So lesson review, what were your 3 pillars of narrative writing? Look up the top of this doc. They are action, description, and dialogue. Action, description, and dialogue. Then go back to description. My next question is description of what? Think. Description of characters, appearance, actions, speech, thoughts and feelings, other characters' reactions, and description of setting, both the time and the place. Next question in review, dialogue. How does it have to be written? Think back. It needs to be purposeful, as in it has to drive the plot, reveal character and conflict. Again, you're not making this dialogue up. I realize it really happened, so it is what it is here, but punctuated. It needs to be punctuated with the commas and quotation marks in the correct places. Okay, I've done this for you, and you're going to put this into action next when you look at another memoir that I've written called Gas Crisis. The same directions are up at the top. You'll highlight blue, green, and red. I'm going to show you what that looks like. It's called Gas Crisis. I'm going to click on that. When it opens, you're going to say, whoa, what's going on the right side? When it loads, you should see a bunch of comments populate. They're not populating. Oh, there you go. So give that a second to pop up. I got scared for a second. What this is all about is your main task is to read the memoir and highlight the 3 pillars of narrative writing. My comments is just pointing out things to you I want you to notice along the way. So if I hover over, why is this yellow? Gas crisis. It'll bring up my comment. The title is deceiving. Yeah, it is. Is it about the ever skyrocketing prices of gas? Well, no, it's not once you read it. P-sized, what's that? That's a hyphenated modifier. What's this one? Well, that's thoughts. What's this? Click on it. It'll bring you to the comment. That's parallel structure. Late, late, late. Okay, so read this. I ask that you only highlight blue, green, and red about the first 2 pages, just so I can see that you know how to recognize the 3 pillars and think, do I have them in balance? Do I have too much of action and not enough description? So think, weigh in on that. I want to hear it from you. It's okay. You can criticize your writing teacher. Okay, so you're going to go back to Google Classroom, open up this Gas Crisis memoir, and highlight it up for the 3 pillars. Good luck.